of Ask for Adventurers.
Woo!
This stream and all subsequent related streams will be about creating a TTRPG character. This is my friend,
Hello.
Rich Hillboard.
How's it going? My name's Rich.
He has asked to create some characters for Black Flag.
Yeah. So what Black Flag is Black Flag is a
Just talk to me.
Oh, I don't know. I'm so like
You don't know
presenting.
what the format is, I'm being
So
very official right
Black Flag is a upcoming game presented by Kobold Press. They make a lot of stuff for 5e. Like they created a bunch of books called The Tome of Beasts and a bunch of third-party stuff. And they've been doing it for a really long time, and they make really, really great stuff.
It sounds very familiar. Did they make that saddlebag that's like an owl?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. But
That's okay.
But they make a lot of really cool stuff that a lot of games use, and I've used it, and it's amazing. And so they decided to start making their own game that will also be backwards compatible with 5e.
Cool.
So right now we're just going to be doing a playtest of it. So so we're going to do a playtest of the character creation, but the only part that they have for playtesting right now is going to be picking your background and your character species, which in this thing they're calling a heritage.
Cool. I'm going to see if I can turn this light
Okay.
on because we are backlit by the sun. And I just realized there was a light there. Yay! That's that. Cool.
Cool. So a lot of this is going to be a lot like 5e because it's supposed to be backwards compatible, but it's going to have different. A lot of this is the first part is coming up with the character concept, and then there's the proficiency bonuses. It's all it's pretty much making a character in 5e, but
Differently flavored.
a different flavor. It's a little bit more I think original 5e is a little bit more the world is really structured and there's a place for elves, there's a place for dwarves, there's a place for humans, and they don't really intersect and that kind of stuff. And you can't go to other worlds and what? Your life is normal. And this thing, as far as I can tell, from the flavoring that I've read, is a little bit more dwarves have gone to many different worlds. There's a little bit more the different
pollination culturally.
yeah, cross-pollination culturally. So you have instead of having a species or a race, you have a heritage. And this is a bit more what is a prominent heritage of for your abilities and that kind of stuff.
Out of curiosity, do people with different heritages have kids in this world?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then sort of your abilities are based on what is the prominent, whatever heritage is the most prominent.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So you can be 70%. There's no heritage that's half orc.
No, not so far. So the only heritage that they have, there's two for each one of these, but there's dwarves, there's elves, and there's humans, right now.
Okay.
Because this is the play test stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they have dwarves. They also have different kinds of dwarves. So they have the Fireforge heritage traits for dwarves, and they have the Stone heritage traits for dwarves. And for elves, they have the Cloud heritage trait and the Grove heritage trait. And then for humans, there's the Nomadic heritage and there's the Cosmopolitan heritage.
Ooh, I like these heritages. I like the word heritage. I don't like the word race. And
Yeah.
D.
And I kind of like how it's it's kind of it's a little bit more where you kind of grew up and kind of you're a little bit less of it's
It's a
what high elves and wood elves it's a little bit more it kind of implies a lot more about you as a person.
Yeah, it's your background, it's your heritage.
Yeah.
And where you grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
we're just
very
gonna.
cool.
So
I
we're just
love
gonna.
the cosmopolitan.
You want to be a cosmopolitan?
I don't know.
Okay, so
It's that's a little bit high elf.
a little bit well, I guess it's it's like you know it's like it's city dweller like yeah like it says I'm gonna go through these just like you know like sort of like let it ruminate like kind of think like what kind of character do I want to be. I'll start with humans because you seem interested in that. So nomadic heritage is characters who choose this heritage hail from a tight-knit community that does not live continually in the same place, but regularly moves to and from areas. Your people may do so to follow seasonally available plants and game, follow established trade routes, or more unique reason. Whatever the case, people of nomadic heritage are well suited to the rigors of travel and often possess an intuitive understanding of environmental cycles and hazards or benefits that come with them. So that's nomadic.
Cool. A bit of ranger.
Yeah, a little bit more rangery. And then you're like.
We don't have to read all of them verbatim.
No, but like I'll just kind of go through like what their ability.
Okay.
So you get like so like you can choose whatever alignment that you want. You have to talk. The one thing that's nice about this is that they're like whenever they're with an alignment, they're like talk to your DM to see what alignments you're allowed to do. Because like when I first thing is DMing, I really wanted to like make it like really easy for myself. So I was like, you can be good, you can be neutral. And then they were like immediately like, we're gonna be evil, we're gonna burn things down, we're gonna like murder people, we're gonna try to sell some dead bodies. And then I was like, I don't want to DM this.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared for this. Like I'm not prepared for this like level of like, let's rip apart the game.
Yeah.
Like
my consent is also important.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not a part of this adventuring band.
Yeah. So for nomadic, you get resilient, which is sort of you get checks on advantage on checks or saves made to resist weather effects.
Ooh.
Okay.
Interesting.
And then additionally, when you complete a short rest, you can reduce your exhaustion level by 1.
Oh.
So I think there might be a little bit more stuff about exhaustion in this. Like there's like if you do a lot of like certain stuff, you might get really tired.
That makes sense that you're hardy.
Yeah.
And you can rest.
Yeah.
Really on the go.
And the other thing is that you have proficiency in the survival skill.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So for Cosmopolitan, it's like more like you grew up in the city. You more like stayed in like one space. You stayed in like a city. You have an ability called Street Smarts.
Cute.
Where it's like you can't get lost.
Oh, wow.
So you can't get lost in a city. You can't get lost in a city.
Wow.
So you kind of know where things are, which is kind of cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That seems counterintuitive. That's like, I guess if you've been somewhere.
Like you understand how cities would be built.
Yeah. It's almost like the feat of like Shark Mind or like, except only places you've been, I would assume. Like if I was the GM and you had that and you were like, I want to know how to get to this tavern, and you just got to the city, I'd be like, no.
But I mean, like, I think it's more like if you were like, oh, like I can track, like this is where, like this is where downtown would be, and this is where and it's more like you can't get lost, like you can't be like, oh, I'm trying to get to here.
Yeah.
I can't get, I know how streets kind of move.
Yeah.
The other part of this is that like you can't, when you're in like a city, you can't be surprised.
Oh, cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it's
this one is a little more vague and confusing for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Because as a GM, if the party had already been somewhere in the city, I would say that they would know how to get there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I get like I get it's a bit more like, you know, like it's like I don't know, like maybe there's gonna be like, again, we're not seeing the whole game, so it's like the idea of like, you know,
if you were like tracking someone, if you were following someone,
yeah,
you had to find your way back home.
Yeah.
That might be a good use case for that ability.
And then the other thing you have is worldly wisdom, is that you can understand the purpose or significance of a building.
Ooh.
Or like object in a culture that you aren't familiar with. So it's sort of like the idea of like you can look at a building and be like, oh, okay, I get what this is. Like I get like
I've lived in a city.
I've lived in New
like
York. Yeah.
I understand what buildings are.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so that's humans. For elves, so you have the cloud heritage and the grove heritage.
Cool.
And clouds is that you get a touch of magic, which is like you can learn a cantrip, and then as you continue on, you learn spells. You learn like extra spells, which is like have to do with like the idea that like what's cloud heritage? It's sort of like you're a little bit more like in a realm of magic. Like you come from a realm of magic, like so you have like.
It's not literal the cloud thing.
No.
It's like a metaphor.
Yeah.
For magical.
Yeah, a magic
stuff.
cloud.
It was a very magical city.
Yeah.
Or do they have do you know if they have like the Fey realm? Is it that?
They are gonna have their own things.
Okay.
Like they're like what Global Press has done before is that they've also created stuff having to do with like ancient mythologies. Like so they have like Asgard and like that kind of stuff. So like you can go to Asgard and you can go to like they create their own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like cool stuff having to do with that.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then you also get proficiency in the Arcana skill.
Cool.
And there's also things that elves just have. Like they have night vision and keen senses, and like they can't be they have advantage on saves against being charmed. That kind of stuff. So it's just like it's like an elf. Yeah, I know what an elf is. Like, yeah. And then Grove Heritage is you get so that's a bit more like you lived in like a nice valley and that kind of stuff. You learn magic there. And you get things called Beast Affinity, which is using gestures and sounds you can communicate simple ideas with beasts.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And you get advantage on checks to interact with non-hostile beasts. So like it's like, oh cool, I want to be able to tell a bird that like I'm going that way.
That's so cool. That kind of reminds me of the ability. There's an ability. I think it's the what's the race that's like cow people in D&D?
Cow people?
Furbolg.
Oh, Furbolg. Okay, yeah.
Furbolgs have an ability where they can talk to plants and creatures, but they can't.
Yeah.
They can't hear anything back.
Right.
They can talk to them, but they can't get.
Yeah, because that's a spell.
Yeah, but that's funny to me.
Yeah.
It's like it reminds me of that because it's like you can communicate to a bear like, hey, I'm going that way, and the bear could just be like, oh.
Yeah.
Or like he could understand and want to follow you, but you wouldn't know.
Yeah. And the other thing that they have is that like your climbing speed is the same to your walking speed.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
Which seems counterintuitive if you were just in a valley.
It's a grove, so the groves have trees.
Okay, a grove. Yeah, a valley surrounded by trees.
Yeah.
I think that's what a grove is.
Yeah, it's a bit more like they're a bit more like
they're like wood elf sort of thing.
They're wood elves. It's sort of like you are. Wait, was it when elves first walked the earth? Many chose to settle in bounteous forests, drawn by the primordial music of the trees and beasts that dwelled among them. So it's like like you have your hippie elves, and then you have like
the ones that live in the forest city.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of Fantasy High and Brennan Lee Mulligan's
depiction
of elves as like dancing with scarves. Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah.
Cool.
And then the last one is dwarves. So you have Fireforged dwarves and you have Stone Heritage dwarves. Fireforged dwarves, they get you are resistant to fire damage. Obviously, like they're a bit more like I'm gonna like go do metal crafting all day long. Like
blacksmith dwarves.
Yeah, blacksmith dwarves. So you are friends to elementals. You can speak, read, and write Ingan, which I assume is like an elemental like language.
That they've defined.
Yeah. And then Reforge is that you can basically you can cast a mending cantrip whenever you want to.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Nice.
Yeah, but I think it's like you would like rather than like being like I was mend that, it's like you spend some time and like go in it. Yeah.
Flavor differently.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And then Stone Heritage, which is a bit more like it's a bit more like making statues and that kind of stuff. Like it's a little bit more like stone carving and building and like buildings and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff about like dwarven weapons and armor and stuff like that. You have an ability called Eye of Quality. Whenever you make an ability check related to the origin of metalwork or masonry, you can add your proficiency bonus to the roll. So you can just kind of be like, oh, I know, like, yeah, like, I can tell how this was made.
And both of these dwarves, they're sort of living in mines kind of thing?
I think it's more like, I think they're more like mine kind of people. It says like they have, like, they're going to, a lot of their cities were built underneath mountains and in caverns and that kind of stuff. So I think dwarves, yeah.
Because sometimes there's hill dwarves also in D&D, so there's no equivalent to that.
I don't think, not yet.
So far. Yeah.
So far. Like, again, like, so like we only have like we only have like about 6 options here. So it's like,
There's not too many options.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So is anything like speaking to you?
Well, is that all that they have released so far?
That's they also have backgrounds.
Okay, cool. Let's go talk about backgrounds.
Yeah, the one thing that's really cool about backgrounds is if you think about feats in D&D, you get a feat with your background.
Nice.
I
usually, when I'm creating, just to go into like actual character creation, chatting, how do you normally, like, what's something that you start from when you try to make a character?
When I'm trying to make a character, usually I try to make a pretty normal guy. Yeah, like it's really funny because it's like sometimes I'm like especially like I don't know if you've ever. That was my phone. It's cool. It's like I don't know if you've ever been like it's like sometimes with like first level characters, people are like, you know, like I did all of this other stuff like before this, and like I had crazy adventures and all that kind of stuff, and it's like your first level, no, you like you did like one thing.
Yeah, you're about to get a lot of experience from just fighting 2 monsters. So
yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
Bringing you where you are now.
I was talking with someone, and it's like the idea of like having like an 18-page or like a really long backstory of like your character, and it's like, man, it's really gonna be bad when you're killed by a goblin arrow like a session later. Like it's gonna and it's like the idea of like, you know, it's like oh cool, you know, a dragon came down and like touched you and was like, your soul is forged with fire, you shall do accomplished things. So anyway, you meet a soldier, and he's like, listen, there's 3 goblins, they're really bugging this town. You have to, like, you know, it's like.
That's true. You like to build your backstory on the way.
I like to build my back, like, you know, it's like you can always go back and add more stuff, but like it's like I pretty much just want like a person who like out like a few days ago was just like, I'm gonna pick up a sword and I'm just gonna go on an adventure, I guess. I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, a lot of my characters are based around that, or like they're just like, I used to steal stuff and I got really good at it. I'm gonna keep stealing stuff, or
just enough that it explains your class.
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool. I love creating backstories for characters.
Yeah.
I have elaborate backstories. But mostly it's like if it's like a level 1 bard, it's like, oh, I learned music from this and I was inspired by this to like go adventuring, but like I haven't been doing it for long. It's more like this was my childhood. This was my upbringing.
Yeah.
And this is why I want to do this.
Yeah.
This is why I want to be a bard. Or like my rogue character, Jocelyn, she like grew up in Waterdeep, and she was like an only kid to a single mother, and she like watched all these gangs.
Yeah.
So like petty thievery and like, you know, kid with bad influences around her.
Yeah.
And like wanting to be a criminal mastermind someday.
Yeah.
But like not has been running with. Actually, she did have more thievery in her backstory. But you know.
Yeah. I think like one of my first D&D characters was named Delonius Starbrand. Yeah. And he was a bard, and his whole deal was just that like he really wanted to be a musician. And then his agent at the time was just like, listen, if you want to go like tour and all that kind of stuff, just grab a sword, go out there, and like you know, like go and adventure, because like that's the easiest way to get from town to town.
That's so funny.
And then just like go make some money and whatever, like when you're out, like, and then like go and play concerts.
What is this agent even for?
like yeah.
It's like, you know, I represent people.
Yeah, like you're not.
I'll get your tour. My plan for your tour is that you pick up a sword and go.
Yeah, but he's
I don't have any contacts in other cities for you.
He was a level 1 bard. Like he's not gonna be like, listen, you're gonna like go and like working in
Valid.
I can't even think of
Go
any.
get some headshots.
Like just go out there and do some
I
stuff.
need something to work with.
I love playing that guy because like it was every single time I went into a town, I was like, my name's Thelonious Stargrave. You must have heard of me. And just like and then like it would go do concerts like in the middle of like combat and stuff. It was great. I had a lot of fun with him. But like
So normally when I create a character, there's like a number of things that I might start with. Just I find something that speaks to me or looks fun.
Yeah.
Like if I think a background is fun, normally it'll be something that's not just the race or the heritage of a character.
Yeah.
Because that's so broad.
Yeah.
And so like one of my characters, I actually just created them based off one of the pictures. A couple of them. Pictures, like the skizits that I put in your campaign. I just saw like a lizard guy and was like, he looks sneaky.
Yeah, I don't know. Like usually I just like do. Sometimes I base it off of characters that I've heard of. Like I can't remember what the character's name that I had within your campaign. It was something like.
The rogue guy.
The rogue guy. I have him on D&D Beyond still, I think. But like I can't remember what his name was. It was something like. It was something.
I don't remember what it was either. I did a short with it. I forget. Oh shoot! I forget who made this game, but it's called. Oh my god. What was it called?
I can't remember. It was like Sea Demons.
Sea Demons Gold. The Sea
Yeah.
Demons Gold. It's like a level 1-2 starting dungeon thing. Something is red on here. It does say live.
Oh!
Oh, hi. I want to offer promotion for your channel. No, thank you.
You can really tell sometimes when I'm like having. I love to have fun character names.
Yeah.
So my high elf rogue's name was Ides of March.
What is that a reference to?
It's Beware the Ides of March. It's from Shakespeare.
Oh, okay.
I was like, it's funny because it's Beware the Ides of March, and like, but like I spelled it with like Y's and like with apostrophes and that kind of stuff. I was doing a campaign with because I'm also part of this D&D improv group called Question and Trevor. We played a campaign, and I had two characters because one died, and then I had a gnome who thought he was the greatest performer ever, and he was a wild magic sorcerer, and his name was Windley Willow.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's cute.
And then he died. He actually killed himself.
Immediately? Oh.
He was gonna turn into a zombie, and he killed himself instead.
Okay,
Yeah, and then
I was like, that's a very dark campaign.
yeah, it was really dark, and then I built a basically the people who else campaign like the deal was that the campaign was that it was a circus that traveled around, and then they got attacked by zombies, and then like they had to run away, and then I played a lawyer who came to see them to like give them documents about the fact they were getting sued. And he was an elephant man called a Loxodon, and his name was Luxies Balthordax Esquire, but he went by Lucky.
I like that.
Yeah. So a lot of times I'll just go with name first, and then I'll think of like something like that.
That's perfectly legal.
Yeah.
And then that was also based off of sort of what was happening to the group and a way to introduce him to
Yeah.
them, or was that not first?
So I knew like they were kind of like so like my character died, and then they were like, we gotta bring him by next time.
Yeah.
What do you think your deal would be? I had two ideas, and like I decided to go with the lawyer route because I thought that'd be funny.
Yeah. It's funny.
Especially if you think of a lawyer who's also an elephant. And then,
never forget.
and then the one thing that was really important to him is that he had a briefcase with him at all times. And he just like would open it up and just like look through it and like then close it up. But it's also like funny to think of a lawyer and then being like, and then he went off and like went into like the forest with these people and went and like fought like robots and stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're very good at making comedic characters.
Thank you.
So work.
Oh yeah. I've been on that 3 times.
I know. I'm thinking specifically of the guy who's a robot but not a robot.
Oh, Vigilante, the robot superhero. I love that character.
That was just pure like comedic gold the whole time. Just like, I'm a man, I'm not a man. I have feelings? No, beep boop. I don't know. I can't remember all of it.
The one thing I remember about it is that he had like a sub-protocol voice, and then occasionally that sub-protocol voice would just make him like forget everything that had happened until the beginning of the podcast. Because like someone would say something to him, and then he'd be like, nope, go back to the beginning again.
I know. I don't remember why he did that. I think he was just like, I want to do over kind of thing. Like, I don't like how
yeah, like you can't like have the robot.
This wasn't good enough. I'm gonna go back to the beginning of this conversation.
Yeah.
So, and you were trying to be like you had like a robot voice and just a guy voice.
Oh yeah. At one point, I turned into a guy named it was something stupid.
Like something no.
Oh, I think it might. Wait, what was it? I can't remember what his human name was. They got rid of the sub-protocol voice and I became a human guy. I think he might have been David or something like that.
Yo, that sounds right. That's fun.
Anyway, back to this. So with your background, you also get a feat, but you get to choose what feat you want.
Okay.
Because feats go into they're called talents.
Okay.
And they go into 3 categories. There's magic talents, there's martial talents, and there's technical talents.
I'm gonna write these down. Magic, martial, and technical.
Yeah. And when you choose your background, you get access to like a category of talents.
Oh,
so,
that's cool.
so magic could be like combat casting or elemental savant. Whereas martial is a bit more like armor training or hand to hand, and then and technical is a bit more like polyglot, which you understand a lot of languages, and trade skills.
That's so cool.
So you get a feat, like right at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that they put them in categories.
Yeah.
Like this will go with this kind of background.
Yeah.
Or this will or heritage.
Yeah. So like they have these are backgrounds. So you don't get one with your heritage. You get one with your background.
But like it makes more sense for someone with either a background that's more martial or
Yeah.
Well, depending on the background, you'll only have access to one category.
Yeah. So like they only have 2 backgrounds right now. Like they only have 2 backgrounds in this playtest.
Okay.
They have scholar and they have soldier.
Okay.
And with scholar, you can pick a talent. You can pick certain talents. So you can pick like a lot of the technical talents, and then with soldier you pick martial talents.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So wait, the first one is magic?
There was magic talents, martial talents, and technical talents. They only have one for gaining some martial talents.
The first background, the scholar one.
Oh, scholar. That's it's like you are. It's a bit more like you are. Like you went to school to become like a whatever you are, like a wizard or a.
Okay. But is that one limited to feats that are magical, or is it limited?
This one's limited to feats that are technical.
Okay, technical. Yeah, cool. That would fit under. Because I was gonna say like could be magical or technical in my mind, but yeah, that makes more sense honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Magic is not necessarily like in D&D. Wizardry is very scholarly. But
Yeah.
then there's
Yeah. But there also is like one magical talent that you can pick if you want one.
Okay.
So like you can pick like.
On top of everything?
On top of. Oh no! It's like for your talents, it's either like these technical talents or this one magical talent.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick from either one.
Yeah.
So cool.
And then for soldier, you get again, like it's like you get there's 2 martial talent. There's martial talents, and then there's also you can also pick this one magical talent.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
For the talents or for the
backgrounds.
for the backgrounds. Okay, so scholar is whether enrolled in an institution of learning or apprenticed to a distinguished sage, you have spent years researching a particular branch of study. Time spent immersed in an academic pursuit has honed your mind, allowing you to view the world through an intellectual lens afforded to few people. And then you get then you're really excited to graduate and you want to go out into the world and so you're like, I'm gonna go on an adventure and go and learn things. And then you get proficiencies. You can learn extra languages. You learn 2 extra languages, and you have proficiency with one type of tool. And this is what's interesting, or vehicle. Don't know what that's for yet. Maybe you get maybe you get proficiency with ships, or I don't know. You can have a car. I don't know if you can have a car. You probably can't have a car, but you probably have a horse or something like that.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
I like how you went to school to learn how to for me the only scholarly vehicle is flying a plane. Pretty much. You don't need to go to school to learn how to steer a cart.
Yeah, but you do need to go to school to learn how to drive a ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, or hands-on experience.
Yeah.
I guess there could be a school where you have hands-on experience.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's so wild.
Yeah, and then for soldier, whether in the employ of the state military or tasked with defending a community, you've spent a significant portion of time risking your own life to defend others. Surviving such dangerous work has demanded rigorous training, discipline, and sacrificing comforts that most people take for granted. And then, you're like, okay, I'm going to go out to the adventure, and you can gain proficiency with a land or water vehicle of your choice, and one tool, and you also have animal handling, all that kind of stuff. And you start with a pack of playing cards and a few other things. So you get you get random D&D stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so you can either choose for the scholar one, you can choose.
I'm definitely going to be a scholar.
You're going to be a scholar.
Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of character do you think you're gonna be? So based on what you have, what are you feeling?
Well, based on the fact that I have these 2 backgrounds to choose from, and I'm usually not a martial character. Usually I've been a bard. I've been a rogue, but that's not really a soldier.
No, that's not really a soldier.
I don't think I would ever be a soldier. I was a paladin once. That was very soldiery. It was a male character.
Yeah.
That was I don't remember what his first name was, but his last name was Athenikos.
Oh, okay.
The Greek.
Yeah.
And that was just purely based off of my background as someone who has grown up around Greek Orthodoxy and just family honor and that concept of what if there was a paladin of in my mind the Greek Orthodox Church and it was a dude.
Yeah.
And it was just this. I just based it off of that, and that was really fun. And it was hard to. I got to learn how to do a Greek accent, which I've grown up around Greek accents a bit, but it's harder to do one. Sometimes I just love doing accents, but okay. So I'm definitely just based off of those 2 choices.
Yeah.
I will be a scholar.
Okay.
And because that is the main thing we have to go with, I think she's going to be very nerdy.
Okay, great. What heritage do you think you're feeling?
Well, based on just a cute nerd, and I'm gonna do a lot of the time for me, I'll have a idea of the voice.
Yeah.
The way they sound, their mannerisms. I'm just going based off of I do a nerdy voice sometimes in improv scenes. I did some. I recently what was that? Was it a class? What was that? Oh shit! I think it was. Was this with Vinny? Was it with Velvet? I don't remember. We were doing a narrative thing.
Okay.
And I think it was with Velvet. It was the protagonist.
Oh yeah.
Velvet is a improviser currently residing in Ottawa. The Velvet Duke. He's amazing. structure where it's like there's a protagonist, they have a thing that they want, and then the story is helping them. It's like hindering them until they get what they want.
Right.
And something is different now. And it was an interesting one. It was someone wanting to do their master's thesis and get their master's degree.
Yeah.
And this this girl was like ancient Mesopotamian like culture.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting, and one of the people sort of brought me a help by like just being this ancient Mesopotamian god, like talking to me.
Yeah.
And they were like, I am, and then they just combined two different gods. They was like Isis, like something, like Zeus, something. They just combined two different god names. So I was like, Isis, Zeus, you're the goddess of fertility and man. How did you get here? So like, yeah, that's kind of that character, like the I don't know. That's not.
Yeah.
That's like a Canadian. Anyway, I have like a. It's very nasal. I'm feeling embarrassed now doing it.
It's okay.
I can't find it.
It's okay. You can find it later.
But yeah. Yeah. Did you want that one? No. Anyway, she's gonna be cute and like a nerd.
Yeah.
And so there's no like halflings in this.
There's no halflings in this.
It's
Not yet.
Not yet. There's.
I guess we'll have to come back later on and do like when the game is actually out. We'll actually come back. We'll have to come back and like either try to remake these characters or make like new characters based on this. Like
I would say that because she's cute and awkward, it doesn't feel like it makes sense for her to be an elf. Although that would be very interesting if she just like didn't fit in.
You can be a nerdy elf.
Elegant. You could be a nerdy elf. I don't know. I just feel like it goes a bit against type because elves are so graceful.
Yeah.
But honestly, that could be kind of interesting.
Like graceful nerd.
She doesn't fit in.
Right.
She's not graceful.
Yeah.
She's just like a very awkward, not fitting in elf.
Yeah.
Who maybe went off to like study because she was like, I don't know, I don't like dancing with stars.
Yeah.
I can't really climb trees as good as everyone else here. I just want to study.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Actually, I'm vacillating between human and elf.
You can also be human. Like human's good. Like you know, like you could be like I mean, like if it's a university, like I'm picturing more of a university kid. Like in my mind, I'm picturing like a university kid, and then like I'm like that's like cosmopolitan, like moves away to the big city to go be like a nerd, like.
Sure. What are the human backgrounds again?
There's cosmopolitan and there's nomadic.
True. And the two elven things are
the cloud elves, which are a bit more like they're stewards of magical forces and that kind of stuff. Like they're a little bit more like
I like the other one.
The Grove one, the one with the yeah.
I like the idea that she just didn't fit in.
Yeah.
In the Grove.
Yeah.
And she like isn't as comfortable as an outdoor kid.
Yeah, I get that.
Indoor, and so she moved to the city, but is not at home in the city, like not cosmopolitan, because that would the street smarts. It doesn't feel.
No, I get that. Yeah.
But she can climb trees and identify berries.
And be able to like and like be able to like go and signal to birds and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. So you have a scholarly elf.
Yes.
Are
you creating a character?
Yeah, I'll create a character too.
Do we want to do ours in tandem? Maybe?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with soldier. I'm gonna go with soldier.
Yeah.
So
because this basically this is based on like your instinct to do like a normal guy.
Yeah, I want to make it a normal guy. I feel like I kind of almost want to go with like I kind of almost want to go with like a nomadic human, like sort of like the idea of like he's a soul, like he's been growing up his entire life, like there's this comic book I used to read. It's called House of Mystery, And there was this guy in it who was really, really boring. Because like the idea is that like with House of Mystery was that like these people got stuck. These people got like brought to this like this bar in this place, and they can't like some of them can't leave.
Oh.
But like the thing is that because they also didn't have any money, you buy like drinks with stories.
Oh my god.
It's really fun, and it's also like really dark and disturbing also at the same time. It's very like all over the place. But there's this one guy, and he's just there, and he can't buy drinks because he doesn't have any interesting stories.
Wow.
Because he's just like, oh yeah, my life's really normal. Like I'm an exterminator, and like so I do extermination work and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then it turns out like he's been fighting like monsters and like all this like crazy crap in his home world. But he's just like, yeah, that's just like a normal like he tries telling the story about how he had to go to work, but then he forgot his shoes. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, so I was trying to go to work, and so I went on the bus, and I got to work, and then I was like, oh man, I wore the wrong shoes, so I had to go back to my house, and my roommate was just like, I had to talk to my roommate for a second. I grabbed my right shoes and I made it back, and I made it just in time for work. And it's like his roommate was being eaten by a spider, and there were like zombies on the street. He had to like go and like wear these combat boots because he was going out to like go and like hunt and murder like legions of demons and that kind of stuff. So I kind of like that idea. Is that like he's a soldier, but he's like.
But it's all like stories.
No, he's just like because he thinks he's a normal guy. It's very normal.
Yeah.
He thinks that he's normal, but he's just really good at like fighting stuff. Like that's kind of like he's just like really good at fighting stuff. And so like, I like that idea, and I kind of want to call him. I kind of want like I feel like if he was a nomadic human, I feel like it's almost like I almost want to give him a really cool nature name, but I kind of want it to be like, like I don't want it to be like oak or something like that. I kind of want it to be orange.
Okay.
I want it to be orange. Because like his parents were just like, I'm going to name him after things I see in the nature. There's an orange tree right there. Your name's Orange.
Okay.
And
does he have a lot of siblings then?
He has a lot of siblings. Yeah, he's like in a family that's has a lot of siblings that like travel around and that kind of stuff.
Yep, that makes sense for the nomadic.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love that.
Yeah, so
I love that for you.
His name's gonna be Orange.
That reminds me of Worm.
I don't know what his last. He might not have a last name. So, and he's gonna be a nomadic human. He's gonna be a nomadic human.
Okay. Ooh, I haven't picked a name for mine yet. I don't know why Candace just came to mind. I haven't thought of the name Candace in a bajillion years. What else? I guess the last time I did like a nerdy character, I named her Imogen. Or was it? Yeah, it was Imogen. Which this was before Critical Role's third campaign because they have an Imogen there, but this was more like I think I was thinking of Imogen Lee.
Alright.
The artist, because she's very eccentric.
Yeah.
And weird. And Imogen, in this other thing, it was a Calamity Fiasco game, and she was just like an art student who was a barista who ended up being an Eldritch Horror, having a twin sister who was an Eldritch Horror.
Oh, okay.
And trying to like talk her out of consuming everyone. When I'm sad, I think about cats. and then the Eldritch Horror like looked at her and like turned this guy into like she like turned this guy inside out, and Aaron, who was in the scene with me, who was the guy getting turned inside out, like he improvised that part.
Yeah.
Like he was like and then he's just like a kitty, but like a flesh kitty.
Oh, weird.
And then I improvised it was supposed to be horror. It was supposed to be like Eldritch Horror. I was like, I think of cats when I'm sad. And then he like turns into a flesh kitten. And then I improvised you know how they have those scratchers for cats?
Yeah.
Like razor blades.
Oh no.
He was like,
I hate
it. And Imogen was like, oh no. That was wild. Okay, that's neither here nor there, but that was like another nerdy character. I could name her Imogen. Candace.
naming an elf, I just put like apostrophes in there. Like, just like, so it's Candace, but
Something,
like Candace, but with lots of apostrophes in it.
you know what? I like that. It would be more appropriate if she had like an elven name.
Oh, I wonder if they have elven. They don't have names on this.
Elven name generator.
They don't have an elven name generator.
Elven name generator.
Sometimes they do. Like if you like maybe the actual book will actually have like an elven name.
Can you Google an elven name
Yeah.
generator? That's always good. Just using random generators to make stuff about your character. That's how I did my guest character for Hero Start Your Paperwork.
All right. So we have.
I generated a random occupation and a random power a few times, and then I landed on her.
Okay, so for names right here we have Finn Rander, Arendil, Ed Helreth, Ed Helgil.
These are a lot of these are male names.
Okay, but actually let me put the female name in. Sorry, I think I had random. Okay, so alright, so Nimiel.
Ooh, Nimiel.
Artis, Valia, Shasha,
Shasha.
and Lyricel.
I'm kind of feeling Nimiel.
Nimiel, you like that?
It's cute.
Yeah.
Like, you can call me Nimi. I like that. That's cute. Let's go with Nimi.
Okay. Alright, and then the last thing you have to pick. Like, I mean, like,
I like it, the idea of, like, her name being even longer than Nimiel, like Nimiel Ledra.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so, and you're going to be a Grove elf.
Yep.
Grove Heritage elf.
Okay. Elf. Cool.
And then you have to pick 2 talents. So, for Scholar, you can be a polyglot, which is like sort of like
Languages.
so you have studied language extensively, allowing you to effortlessly communicate in multiple languages and puzzle out critical information from languages you don't know. When you select this talent, you gain the following benefits: learn 3 languages of your choice. You have advantage on charisma ability checks made to interact with non-hostile creatures from whom any of these 3 languages is their primary language. And whenever you make an ability check related to understanding the meaning of verbal or written language you don't know, you can add your proficiency bonus to the roll. And if you have a proficiency in a relevant skill or tool, you will add double your proficiency to the roll.
In a relevant tool.
So like I guess like it's sort of like I guess it's if it's like I don't know, I guess if
if you're like an archaeologist and you have to brush away the
yeah, maybe something like that, or maybe like you're like maybe you have to write something like just like you have a piece of paper or something. I have no idea.
Huh. That's interesting.
Or you can have
or maybe it's like arcana.
Yeah.
Maybe it's magical writing of some kind.
And then the other talent you can have is school specialization, which is a spell one, and it's like choose one of the 8 schools of magic, and you gain the following benefits. Whenever you cast a spell from that school that requires you to make an attack roll, you add a +1 to that roll. Whenever you cast a spell from that school that requires the target to make a save versus your spell save DC, the spell save increases by 1. And if you use a spell book to cast your spells, the gold and time you must spend copying a spell of that school into your spell book is halved. You can select this talent multiple times.
Now this is the point at which I stop thinking about character creation and I start thinking about what do I want to be able to do when I'm playing.
Right.
This is like, yeah.
Oh, and there's one last one.
Okay.
And the last one is you can have trade skills.
Ooh.
And you have honed these skills necessary to perform a particular job or profession. When you select this talent, decide what the profession is and then gain the following benefits. Gain proficiency with 1 skill and 1 type of tool or vehicle relevant to your chosen profession. Alternatively, gain proficiency with 2 school types of tools or vehicles relevant to your chosen profession. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's the same thing, but
Yeah, you can like one is that you can do one or you can do two. It literally just says game proficiency. It's also a playtest, so like.
Yeah, that's cool. Technical talents. Is that what it? Oh,
yeah, it's
polyglot trade skills. You have homeless. Okay, game proficiency with one skill and one type of tool, vehicle relevant. Alternatively, game proficiency with two types of tools or vehicles relevant.
Yeah, so you can either choose one or two.
Yeah. Okay, that's weird. Provided you have access to the necessary equipment and customers, you can spend a day plying your trade, and expect to be paid 2 gold pieces or paid with goods and services of equivalent value. You can select this talent multiple times. It's funny. It's kind of like, I'm feeling kind of like the Elven thing of like, it might be fun to mix that nerdy girl with like something that's a little bit different from it. Like, I was thinking polyglot would make most sense for her, and it would kind of be, there's a couple ways that the contrast is kind of cute to me. So like, okay, so trade, you would think that she wouldn't be as hands-on if she's very academic, but maybe she's like a nerd about ships.
Yeah, or like I mean, I guess it could also be like, you could also be like, I don't know, it's like maybe you're like really good with math.
Oh, that's true. Or like building things.
Or like you could be a good
tinkering, almost like crafting.
Yeah.
Like an art kind of nerd.
Yeah, you could be like basket weaving.
Basket weaving. Oh my, that's not. I mean, I'm sure it's a very complex and interesting thing. Basket weaving nerd. That's funny. But then I also like the idea of if she's a polyglot. Like when you said the charisma saving.
Yeah.
When you said the charisma thing, I was like, that doesn't fit with her if she's not charismatic. But then I love the idea of like she meets someone from a different culture.
Yeah.
And she's just a nerd about that culture, and she's just like
because
asking them about the stuff she's interested
Yeah.
about that culture, and then sort of winning them over in that way. I like both of those. Let's come back to that later.
Okay.
Let's go back to your character.
Okay, so for soldier, so I get 2 talents. Sorry, I get 1 talent, but I choose from 3 of these. So I have armor training, combat casting, or combat conditioning. I don't think he's going to be a spellcaster. I don't think that he's like, or maybe
too much of a normal guy.
Too much of a normal guy. It'd be too. And like, I mean, it's like, so I'm like, so not combat casting, which is like, I'm not gonna go over that too much. It's like it's sort of like you are really good at combat casting. And I don't feel like he's going to be armored particularly well. Again, it's not normal guy.
It's too fancy.
I think it'd be too fancy. I think like it's like one of those kind of things. I'm almost starting to picture Finn from Adventure Time a little bit, like where it's just like he wears like a t-shirt and it's like it got punched so much that his entire body's callous or whatever. So I'm kind of leaning towards combat conditioning, which is you have endured extensive training to withstand the physical rigors of combat, making you harder to cut down. Your HP maximum increases by 2 for each level you currently have. And whenever you gain a level, including the level at which you gain this talent, if applicable, your new hit dice is 1 size larger than your class typically grants. For example, a wizard with this talent would gain a D8 for their new hit die instead of a D6. So like it's like he's a little bit more hardy.
And there's those 2 to choose from, or you have another one?
The other one, like, so like like the other one was combat casting.
Yeah.
Combat casting, and then the other one was heavily armored.
Cool.
Armor training.
Cool. I love this normal guy.
Orange.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna get the thing for that. So that he's gonna be combat conditioning. I think that like so next month they're coming out with classes for this game. So I think that we should do this again if you want to.
Okay.
We'll we'll go over the classes, and then we'll actually like roll the dice.
Think about our characters a little.
Yeah, and then we'll actually like roll the dice and figure out like all this kind of stuff. So I don't want to figure it too much out. If it's like, oh, like, you know, there's something like I want to like have like I should have higher strength or yeah.
I like that we have the backgrounds first, honestly, because to me, background is a lot. It helps me create characters a lot more than class does.
Yeah.
Because class is just so it's more. It doesn't say as much about the person.
Yeah.
I think as the background does. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what classes are going to be like in this game because I have no idea because originally what they planned was for like if we were gonna play test this game,
yep.
You just grab a 5e class.
A what class?
Like a 5e class.
5e class, yeah.
So I don't know. So I don't know if it's gonna be like it's just gonna be fighter and wizard and all that kind of stuff, or it's gonna be like I don't know some kind of weird other class that I can't even think of right now.
Yeah. That it would be cool if they had really different classes. It feels like that's something that they could change a significant amount, and it wouldn't be like I feel like it's harder to come up with different what was race in this? Heritages. Like it would be so much harder to create whole new species of creatures than it would be to come up with different classes.
Yeah, and I feel like it's also like what I'm liking so far about this, and like again we don't have a ton of information yet, but it's like what I'm really liking about it so far is that like even like the background like it's sort of like you get like you're getting a lot of information about kind of the world a little bit like about like you know like because they're not really talking about like I don't know like with
there's an importance on vehicles.
There's importance on vehicles. There's it also seems that there's going to be an importance on like exhaustion, like not getting too tired doing stuff, which is not really a thing in D&D too much. Like
I've seen it used a lot.
Oh yeah, okay.
Well, not a lot, but like sometimes a lot more than other campaigns. Like,
yeah.
It really depends on the DM.
Yeah.
And like what you're doing. Like if you always give your party enough time for a long rest, then it's never going to be a thing.
Yeah, like I think it's going to be more like you know if you like do a thing for too long, like you get like tired. I'm like that makes sense.
And that really affects people.
Yeah.
And there's different things that can give you exhaustion.
Yeah.
Not just.
Well, I know that rage for barbarians can give you levels of exhaustion.
Yeah. There's different things I can't remember.
Yeah.
Certain attacks, certain magic.
Yeah.
Exhausted, I think.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So what do you think you're gonna go with? Which one do you think right now? Which one do you think you're gonna go with?
Okay, polygot, school specialization, or trade skills. She could be a school specialization too. For me, that's less character creation choice and more like practical.
Right.
Like if I want to specialize in a school of magic, I'll be more efficient in combat with that.
Yeah.
Because like 3 languages, that's one of those things where like if I'm playing a bard, it's like I'm a support character, and I have all these options for like, you could even do like divination.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I would love that. It might be so clutch in the right situation.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it will not be useful unless you have a really great DM who's like making stuff around your character's abilities to get you to be able to feel like do a cool thing.
Yeah.
Like create situations where that would come in handy because it'll be satisfying for you. That's always something to weigh. Like for me, it's just like I had my first character, Gloria. She this was my first time playing D&D ever. It was like a meetup in Ottawa that I went to, and they had been playing for a bit already, and they had there was some Curse of Strahd going on in the world, so the lists and stuff were happening, but we were doing Tomb of Annihilation.
Oh, okay.
So it was very deadly, and she got turned into a vampire. She didn't want to die. She was very charismatic, tiefling,
Yeah.
very bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and she was like naively thought she could stay good and be a vampire.
Right.
But it was like she was in denial about the evil for a while. Just like, I just murdered someone. It's fine. It's just I had to eat.
Yeah.
Like trying to hide it from the party. But clumsy. Okay. Yeah, so that reminds me of like, I would take spells. I was trying to take spells to be able to manage her vampirism because you can't be a vampire adventurer.
Yeah.
Vampire does not lend itself because you have a coffin. The only thing, like, you can basically die and be immortal, but you need to have your coffin within range.
Yeah.
And so you gotta lug this coffin around with dirt in it from the place where you were turned.
Yeah.
And if you're in Tomb of Annihilation, like, we went to an area with wild magic and like so many deadly monsters, and protecting her coffin, I had a caravan of dudes with me.
Yeah.
That I paid, and then one dude who was just in love with me and like my servant, and I turned him into a bear or something. We turned him into an animal, and he was pulling the cart with the coffin on it, and we managed to keep it with us. But then there was a wild magic area where it was a reverse gravity.
Oh, gotcha.
And the coffin went up into the air, and then came back down, and like the dirt was everywhere. The coffin was completely shattered. It was very hard to keep it around, lug it everywhere, and so I was like trying to think about, like, I think there was one where it's like growing trees. There was like some stuff with trees that I was like, okay, if I can get it in an area and grow really gnarly bush around it, it'll be protected while we're doing other stuff. Or like if I could awaken a tree and he could carry the coffin with us and just chill in a forest nearby with the coffin, that would keep it safe. But until later, we didn't really get around trees.
Yeah.
So she just had to live without a coffin. But it's like you're taking those spells and you're like, this is good for a very specific situation that I'm anticipating and may never come.
Yeah. I'm also going to say this. This is first level characters, so it's possible. It also said for like school specialization that you can take this multiple times. So it kind of implies to me that you're going to get more later on.
Oh, wild.
So you can always take Polyglot now as like sort of the idea of like you just started adventuring, but so you might know a lot of languages, and then take school specialization later on when you're a little bit more like, because you also don't know like you're gonna like what kind of like class you're gonna be at.
Yes, I like the idea of her being a big nerd about something. I feel like school specialization is less interesting as a character move to be interested in. I'm gonna go with character creation over usefulness for now. Especially since this is a character creating series.
Yeah.
Show, one episode maybe, whatever. So yeah, so either polyglot or trade skills. Are there options for what kinds of trades you can do?
It doesn't say.
It's just
It doesn't say. I think that like that'll probably come.
But it's a vehicle. It's one vehicle.
Gain proficiency with one skill and one type of tool or vehicle relevant to your chosen profession. Alternatively, gain proficiency with two types of tools or vehicles. Oh,
it's two vehicles or two tools.
Yeah.
Got it. Or one of each.
Yeah.
We understand it now.
Yeah.
We understand what it was saying.
Relevant to your chosen profession. And then, provided you have access to the necessary equipment and customers, you can spend a day planning your trade and expect to be paid 2 gold pieces or paid with goods. That's actually also pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like you go to a town and be
I
like.
do really like that. I feel like it would come up in character. Like it would be more easy to express her character on a consistent basis about what she's nerdy about if it wasn't like languages, because who knows when you're gonna need. You might need it a lot. But I like the idea that she's like doing her trade. I'm gonna go with trade skills.
Great.
I'm gonna go with trade skills.
And then we'll figure out what kind of trade that is at some point.
Sure. We can figure it out. How much time have we been?
I don't know. It's almost 3, so actually we've been going for a little bit. So I don't think we're gonna get to like Avatar.
I think we got here at like 1:30.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe so much time has passed. I kind of want to go into what kind of trade.
Well, I don't have the information, so like.
No, but like, I assume that could be anything really.
Yeah, I guess we could go look at like 5e trades.
Or we could just like. I feel like I want another random generator of just like trades.
Wait, let me just
I'm trying to think what would be a very not appropriate trade for. It's like air conditioner repair.
Oh, okay. So like they have a few. Is that like alchemy and herb gathering?
That's fun. If she's like a nerd about plants.
Yeah.
She did grow up.
She grew up in a grove.
She grew up in a grove. So she's less like. So maybe she is a bit of an outdoor kid, but in the way that like a spacey, nerdy outdoor kid, where she's staring at plants all day.
Yeah, they're like all your friends are like, look at me, like shoot this bow, and you're like, oh, don't eat that, that's poison ivy.
Like archery and silk dancing over there.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's like I'm scared of animals.
Yeah.
And I go into the forest to look at the plants.
Yeah.
I like that. Is there anything else in there?
Do blacksmithing.
I mean, if she was tinkering little things.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It was like it didn't really say. I think yeah.
Maybe he likes plants. Okay. Yeah.
Herb gathering.
Herb gathering, and then she can make little, probably like tinctures things.
Yeah.
Or like a poultice.
Yeah.
I like the idea of her making poultices over potions.
Yeah.
For some reason. Just work this on. And her telling stories about. Maybe she does have animal friends, just little ones.
Well, that's one of the things with growth elves, that they can like communicate like little things to like little animals, to basic animals. But like it could just be like you like squirrels and chipmunks and like.
Yeah, I'm like helping my little squirrel friends with with a poultice.
You're basically Squirrel Girl from the world. Like, remarkable.
Yep. Just like, oh, this one. It's like, no, it should work fine. I haven't tested it on people yet.
Yeah.
But my little squirrel friend, they got burnt and it helped them right up. So this should help you. I like that. I really like that.
Cool.
We did it.
We did, yeah.
A normal guy.
We had a normal guy named Orange.
Fights things and is very calloused potentially.
Yeah.
Very strong.
I'm sure he'll get armor. Well, actually, maybe he'll be a barbarian or whatever the equivalent is in this game.
Would you?
I've never played a barbarian. With D&D is that whenever I play D&D, I was like going with the opposite kind of a character, like that I played like the previous time.
Okay.
Or like something that I haven't like last time that I played, I was rogue. That was in your game.
Yeah.
And I was a rogue. And I think that a fighter or a barbarian is different than a rogue.
For sure. But you're still. What about Ides of March was a normal guy? Because you did.
He wasn't like he was more like I'm gonna steal things in like, but I'm very very well like it was more like he was more like.
You were kind of fancy too. You had a noble background.
He was fancy. He was more like a gentleman, like a thief kind of a guy. Like he was a bit more like, I'm gonna lie to you and I'm gonna take all your stuff.
He was a little bit snooty.
He was a little bit snooty. He was sort of like you ever seen the movie Dirty Rotten Scoundrels?
No.
Okay, that's a fun movie with Steve Martin and who plays Alfred in Batman Begins? Michael Caine. Michael Caine's in that movie too.
I can't not
And they're like con men.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Neat. Yeah. The party didn't like Ides of March.
No one liked it.
Absolutely decimated everything in the fucking
dungeon. He was an assassin. He was an assassin rogue, and so like he would just like go and stab stuff. Like his first thing would be to stab somebody like out of nowhere.
There was a monster in the wall of the dungeon who was only supposed to come to life when you take the jewelry off of it. And Rich very cleverly
he was very like I don't want to be here. I hate this. There's so many monsters. I hate this. This is the worst time ever.
I like that he tried to steal the captain's pipe so many times and rolled shit on it like every time.
I also remember
because he's very good at stealth.
He's very good. I remember there was this one point where I feel like there was supposed to be a monster in a room or something like that, and like the monster was hiding, and I was
it
like,
wasn't. You guys had taken a long rest, and so the gelatinous cube came out of that room.
Yeah.
I shouldn't give spoilers for this because it's
anyway. I go. Eads goes in this room by himself because he's looking for monsters, and then he's like he doesn't see a monster, and he's like I'm gonna leave this room. This monster's gonna attack me, so I'm gonna stand in this room and I'm gonna lie really loudly in the room. To try to see if I can get the monster to come out and talk to me, and I was just like, I'm trying to I'm going through this dungeon. I hate it here. I'm trying to find all the treasure so I can bring it out, so we can put new treasure in to get new adventurers to come in.
Yeah, what you said was that I'm working for the bad guy who runs this dungeon. We're gonna get this treasure out of here so we can get better new treasure into this room.
Yeah.
Because you thought there was a monster hiding there.
Yeah.
But what you didn't know was the character that was traveling with you was secretly evil.
Yeah.
He was the only other person in the room with you.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit.
Because I was rolling really well. Because that's the one thing is that he was very sneaky and he had really high charisma. So he would lie and people would just believe everything.
But the party hated you though.
Yeah, everyone hated me. Which
is funny because you ended up in private figuring out that the character they thought was this cute little helper was actually evil.
Yeah, and then I tried to kill it. And then everyone turned against me immediately.
Yeah. He was right, the thing was evil, and everyone was like, you're hurting him, and it was so funny and such a weirdly specific because I was like, roll for deception, and then I was like, oh my god, maybe the character will be deceived, and immediately he was like, you work for my boss.
Yeah.
So wild. That was wild.
That was a good fun time.
Unexpected things.
I do like coming up with sneaky characters. I had this character. I was playing in this GURPS game, a general there's a role playing system called GURPS, which is just it's a generic thing you can use for whatever. And it was a Hunger Games thing.
Oh. And
I had a character, and her name was Rowan, and she was the worst. Because she was from the Tree District in Hunger Games.
Okay, yeah.
And I was I came in later, and they were like, you can pick one from one of these districts, and I'll pick the Tree District. And originally I was gonna come up with some kind of weird wolf girl and I was just like, well, what if she climbed a lot? And then I was like, what if she what would she and so she was really good at climbing. And then she was also let's just add something else on there. And I was like, she's really, really good at stealing things. And she's kind of a kleptomaniac. Because kleptomania is a trait. So the one thing about GURPS is that there's a lot of stuff about you can gain points.
Yeah. And
you gain points through either the dungeon master, the game master giving you points, or choosing a disadvantage for yourself.
Ooh, is that XP or no?
It's more you can put it's sort of like XP, but you can only put it into skills.
Okay.
So it's sort of you can gain skills and things, but you have to you either have to gain them in some way, or you have to give yourself a disadvantage. So
I love that.
And it's the disadvantages are insane. You can decide to have one hand.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you get a lot of points. So I decided that she was she was a compulsive liar, and she was a kleptomaniac. So whenever there was something where it was you want to steal something, you have to roll to resist going, or you have to go steal that thing.
Yeah.
You have to go over and take that thing right now.
I love it.
And GURPS is super fun, but it's extremely crunchy. It's extreme because there's so many skills.
Ooh, I love this.
You should go get the GURPS book. It's so good. There's so many skills.
Maybe there'll be an episode.
Yeah, GURPS. It's insane. But you really have to have a really strong idea of what the game is, because it's like Hunger Games. It's you could do so much stuff with that, but it was you can't be magical, and you can't be like from the future or something like that.
I love flaws and like and traits like that that put you at a disadvantage, and I love the idea that like if you have one hand, you get more points because you have learned to adapt to this.
Yeah.
And now you're really good at something.
But you only have one hand. But also you couldn't be like it's like I couldn't be like I decide I want to have more skills. I chop off my hand. No, you don't like. You have like,
start with it.
Yeah, to start with it.
That's the thing about it.
And that game was also really fun because every single game you could get points for your character if you brought in a beer that had a name that reminded you of the last like session of the campaign.
Was this this was a house rule?
This is a house rule.
Oh, okay.
Like I think it's like you can give arbitrary points. Like and but you weren't getting like a lot. Like I think Rowan was so much fun. She ended up killing. So basically, it ended up being me and the other person from my district were the last two people like in the game, and I killed him. And I like snuck up behind him. I slit his throat, like, and then I made out with him, and then he died.
Okay.
And like
that last part.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And then I made a list of songs that had to do with Rowan.
I do that too. I make playlists for my characters.
I still have it.
I have a playlist for Jocelyn, my criminal rogue mastermind, pirate smuggler lady, and I have a playlist for the gun actuary from the Heroes Don't Do Paperwork.
Yeah. And then like the last thing was that like at the end of the game you got to choose your song, and that was your like victory song.
Oh wow! The thing they play on the loudspeakers.
Well, it was more for us. Like it was more like I think like, it might be playing, but like my ending song was "Bad Girl" by Billie Eilish. And then I had like a lot of songs that had to do with specific characters. Like if they.
That guy?
What?
Do you mean that guy?
What did I say?
Bad girl.
Oh yeah, bad guy.
Okay.
Sorry. Like I'm looking at another one because like the guy that was from the same district as me was really in love with my character. It's like I kept manipulating him the entire time.
That makes more sense why you kissed him after. But
Yeah.
did you say make out with?
I said make out.
Okay.
And so my combat song with him was "I'm Not Your Girl." It's a song called "I'm Not Your Girl."
Oh my God.
And then like I had like a lot of songs like
I love this character.
my entrance song into like when you like at the have you've seen Hunger Games, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Remember when they had to go into the interview with that guy with the foppish hair? I can't remember what his name was.
The one with the eccentric guy.
Yeah, the eccentric guy
with the purple hair.
Yeah.
I forget his name too.
But so you got to choose a song that you came in with, and mine was "I Came to Play," which is like if you ever see like the WWE, there's this guy named The Miz.
Oh my God.
And like I might play this song.
I don't know that guy, but that's fun.
I love this.
I don't think we should play.
Okay, it's called "I Came to Play." It's very like I'm gonna yeah. It's go time, and yeah, so pretty much like she just like she hid in trees and stole things, and then just murdered a bunch of people.
That reminds me of Jocelyn.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's gonna be it for our character creation session today. Lots of fun discussions about characters and flaws and background.
And next time we'll try to play this Avatar role-playing game.
Yay.
Avatar Legends that we get to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rich.
Yeah.
Do you want to plug anything?
No.
No?
I eventually we're doing this thing called the.
Watch this.
Yeah. Okay, fine, whatever. No, then.
Do it.
Eventually, there's going to be this thing called the Maestro in Ottawa. It's competitive improv format, and it's going to be very, very fun. It's not a real competition.
No, the points don't matter.
Again, the WWE. It's sort of like how with in the WWE and like professional wrestling, they're like someone's going to win, but it's all scripted. So it doesn't really matter who really wins. It's sort of like it's not scripted for the Maestro. that's the whole thing. Is that we're doing an improvised thing, but it matters the same amount. It's sort of like in the idea that like
silly.
it's silly. Like it's as if it was scripted, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be doing that. That's gonna be soon.
Yeah.
That is such a fun format in your workshops.
Yeah.
Rich does lots of things in
Yeah.
workshops. Check him out. Bye. Thank you.